as we come to Mi Chamocha, our song that we sang after crossing through the Red Sea to freedom, we would be wise, I think, to note that this Monday is Martin Luther King Day and gives us an opportunity to reflect on the experiences of crossing out of slavery in Egypt through the Red Sea, through the wilderness to the promised land, not just of our people, but of all peoples, and as has happened, and as is not yet complete, but still must continue to happen here in America. We will mark the occasion here at services leading into Mi Chamocha with an excerpt from Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail. This, as you can find here in your handouts on page 2, this is a reply that Martin Luther King wrote from jail to an open letter from 8 critics of his among the Alabama clergy. They were against his method of direct action, compromising demonstrations, marches, boycotts, and sit-ins. They supported equality, but they thought that in the meantime, the law as it is, that is Jim Crow, should be obeyed without demonstrations. And this is Dr. King's reply to their approach, to their idea. And his words powerfully express his vision. They speak to the state of the black community in America in a way that is in dialogue, I think, with Jewish history and our encounters with Egypt, both ancient and modern. They show us a snapshot, a window of the journey of the African American community's own traveling through the Red Sea, out of Egypt, through the wilderness to the promised land. And again, that march is still ongoing. And that's part of why we sing Mi Chamocha every time we have services, because the marching is yet to be completed. The promised land is yet to be fully reached. And as long as that's true, then we have to keep singing. And I think we see in Dr. King's words a profound interpretation of what the promised land is, how we reach it, what our relationship is with the divine presence, and how divine will is made real here on earth. His words speak vividly to the reality of 1963, and his words speak vividly to our reality now. I'd like to invite forward Amalia Schifris and Tio Savage to read for us. Amalia and Tio, we appreciate your family's presence in our community. We're so happy that Lynn and Jordy are here as well, and Maddie and Eliza are in childcare. Your family's presence in our community, Lador Vador, is a treasure. Come nice and front and center so the live streamers can see you. We're on page 2 in our handouts.
We should never forget that everything Adolf Hitler did in Germany was legal. It was illegal to aid and comfort a Jew in Hitler's Germany. Even so, I am sure that, had I lived in Germany at that time, I would have aided and comforted my Jewish brothers. There is a strangely irrational notion that there is something in the very flow of time that will inevitably cure all ills. Actually, time itself is neutral. It can be used either destructively or constructively. More and more, I feel that the people of ill will have used time much more effectively than the people of goodwill. We will have to repent in this generation, not merely for the hateful words and actions of the bad people, but for the appalling silence of the good people. Human progress never rolls in on wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts of men willing to be co-workers with God, and without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the forces of social stagnation. We must use time creatively, in the knowledge that the time is always ripe to do right. Now is the time to make real the promise of democracy and transform our pending national elegy into a creative psalm of brotherhood. Now is the time to lift our national policy from the quicksand of racial injustice to the solid rock of human dignity.
Oppressed people cannot remain oppressed forever. The yearning for freedom eventually manifests itself, and that is what has happened to the American Negro. Something within has reminded him of his birthright of freedom, and something without has reminded him that it can be gained. Consciously or unconsciously, He has been caught up by the zeitgeist, and with his black brothers of Africa and his brown and yellow brothers of Asia, South America, and the Caribbean, the United States Negro is moving with a sense of great urgency toward the promised land of racial justice. If one recognizes this vital urge that has engulfed the Negro community, one should readily understand why public demonstrations are taking place. I have not said to my people, get rid of your discontent. Rather, I have tried to say that this normal and healthy discontent can be channeled into the creative outlet of nonviolent direct action.
Yasher Koach. Thank you, Amalia and Tio. And in precisely this spirit, with Dr. King's words ringing in our minds and in our hearts, we will sing Mi Chamocha on page 40, because again, as long as the path to the promised land is not yet complete, then we got to keep singing until it is. So here we go. Here we go. Page 40. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilo tosef ele, nora tehilo tosef ele. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilo tosef ele, nora tehilo tosef ele. Malchut Zechara uvanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze li'anu ve'ameru anu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam ba'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam ba'ed. Nine, nine, nine. Nine, 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 nine. And the last three lines on the page in Hebrew, V'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai gal Yisrael.